Mindfulness is a simple concept with powerful results. It's been tied to a decrease in stress, an improvement in mood, better sleep, and more. Meditation is a technique that encourages mindfulness, working to increase calmness and relaxation, improving psychological balance, and improving well-being. This lesson will cover the science of mindfulness and meditation. We will learn of the research that supports it, describe the caveats of some research, and will then introduce the practice of mindfulness meditation. This is definitely a class that you don't want to miss. So what will we do today? We'll discuss mindfulness meditation and mindfulness meditation. They are not the same. Investigate possible brain changes with regular mindfulness meditation. Review some of the research behind mindfulness meditation. Learn how to include mindfulness in our daily lives. And we'll even be watching 3 different videos: an energy meditation, mindful eating, and mindful movement. We're not going to do this now, but in our class, we will have a 5-minute meditation for us to get an idea of what meditation is. So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the ability to be fully present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not being particularly reactive or overwhelmed by what is going on around us. Although it's a natural process, it can be cultivated in various ways, such as walking, seated, lying down, and moving meditation. We could also add it into short pauses of our everyday life, or by merging meditation practices with other activities like yoga or sports. Mindfulness brings awareness and caring into everything we do. It cuts down on needless stress. It's evidence-based. Both science and experience demonstrate the positive benefits for health, happiness, work, and relationships. Mindfulness can also help solve problems and spark innovation. And one of the best things about mindfulness is that it can be done in any position for any amount of time, and it needs no special skills. What is meditation? So meditation also requires no special skills, and it also requires that you are just aware and in the moment. It's done without judgment and uses curiosity, warmth, and kindness. Meditation has been used for many years to help increase calmness, physical relaxation, cope with illness, and more. There's many different types of meditation, but most have 4 elements in common: a quiet location with limited distractions, a specific comfortable posture, whether that be sitting or lying down, a focus of attention, usually a specially chosen word or maybe a set of words, an object, or just the sensations of breathing, and then an open attitude. You have to have the ability to let distractions go without judging them. Meditation is a way to train your attention to achieve a state of calm concentration and positive emotions. Mindfulness is one of the meditation techniques. It has 2 parts: attention and acceptance. Attention involves turning the experiences to focus on what is happening in the moment. It directs awareness to your breath, your thoughts, the physical sensations in your body, and the feelings that you are experiencing. Acceptance involves observing the feelings and sensations without judgment. You merely note them and let them go. The concepts of practicing mindfulness include a comfortable position, a place where you can sit that feels calm and quiet to you. A time limit. If you're just beginning, you might want to choose a short time, like 5 or 10 minutes. A focus on your body. Just doesn't matter how you sit as long as it's comfortable and you can be stable and stay in that position for a while. A focus on your breath. Follow the sensation of your breath as it goes in and as it goes out. Acknowledgement of mind wandering. When you get around to noticing that your mind is wandering, and this is very common, it might take a few seconds, it might take a minute, it might even take 5 minutes, just simply return your attention back to the breath. And then kindness. Be kind to your wandering mind. Don't judge yourself or obsess over the contents of the thoughts that you find yourself lost in. Just come back to the present. In our class, we will also include a very short introduction to mindful eating. So again, you can go back and look at this later or join us in our class to actually go through this. Although there's many types of mindfulness interventions, two have been the focus of much of the research. Mindfulness-based stress reduction, which includes weekly group classes and daily mindfulness exercises done at home over an 8-week period. The second is mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, which combines elements of mindfulness-based stress reduction and cognitive behavioral therapy to treat people with depression. Much of what has been found about mindfulness in the brain can be traced back to a program begun at the University of Massachusetts Medical School in Worcester. This program, Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction, also known as MBSR, was developed to study the brain changes that can occur with meditation. MBSR meditations are most often the meditations used in the study. Results of the MBSR intervention were measured in several ways, including self-report questionnaires, brain imaging, such as functional MRI to view structural changes in the brain, and EEGs to view brain wave activities, cortisol levels to track stress hormone levels, heart rate variability to reflect the autonomic nervous system balance, which indicates stress resilience, behavioral and cognitive performance tests, including tests on attention, focus, memory, and pain tolerance, and then longitudinal studies and clinical outcomes. It's important to note here that this program began in 1975 and has been going on for over 50 years. So there has been quite a bit of research associated with this particular program. Meditation has also been associated with structural changes in the brain. These changes can be seen in the surfaces of the cortex and buried within a region such as the insula. That suggests the cerebral cortex is related to meditation and mindfulness. We'll discuss these 3 ways that the brain is impacted by mindfulness meditation in the next slide. They are chemical, structural, and functional. Meditation has been shown to alter neurotransmitter and neuromodulator levels, leading to positive effects on mood, stress, and cognitive function. Some changes include increased neurotransmitters and neuromodulators, including serotonin, which helps boost mood and promotes a sense of well-being, dopamine, which enhances motivation, reward, and pleasure, GABA, which reduces anxiety and promotes relaxation, endorphins, which are actually natural pain relievers that also enhance positive emotions, and melatonin, which leads to improved sleep regulation and relaxation. There's also a decrease in certain chemicals, including cortisol, which is known as the stress hormone. Meditation and mindfulness lowers cortisol, reducing stress and inflammation, and norepinephrine, which decreases excessive arousal and hyperactivity to stress. So all these changes contribute to better emotional regulation, reduced stress, improved sleep, and enhanced cognitive function, making meditation mindfulness a powerful tool for brain health. Now, we did say that there were changes in your brain with chemicals, but how does that happen? Okay, think of those neurotransmitters and neuromodulators as text messages that the brain sends to each other. So when you're learning something new, or in this case, practicing mindfulness meditation, several chemical changes occur. There's more message production. So the brain cells make more of certain chemical messages. So if you're motivated, your brain releases more dopamine, which helps you stay focused and feel rewarded. It also improves that message delivery. The brain is better at releasing those chemicals at exactly the right time and place. It's like becoming more efficient at delivering mail to the right address. Also, the receiving brain cells develop more docking stations, receptors, to catch these chemical messages, making those receivers more sensitive, and that makes the communication stronger and clearer. And then balance adjustments. Your brain carefully balances excitatory chemicals that activate brain cells and inhibitory ones that calm them down. And this balance is crucial for brain training. This matters to us as we age. Our brains can adjust to these chemical messengers. While the process might slow down a little bit as we get older, engaging in new activities, social interactions, physical activities, those are other ways that help maintain your brain's chemical flexibilities. Besides chemical changes, meditation and mindfulness has been shown to cause structural changes in the brain, particularly through neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to form and reorganize neural connections. So some of these key structural changes include increased brain volume and gray matter density. So the hippocampus is involved in memory and learning. Regular meditation increases the size of the hippocampus, enhancing memory, learning, and emotional regulation. And prefrontal cortex, which is your decision making and focus. So, meditation strengthens the prefrontal cortex, improving attention, executive function, and rational thinking. Mindfulness meditation also strengthens the connections between neurons, particularly in the default mode network. And that is the network involved in self-awareness, focus, and emotional processing. It also increases the efficiency of white matter tracks, which improve the communication between different brain regions. It also reduces the volume in stress-related brain structures, such as the amygdala, which is your fear and stress response. Mindfulness meditation reduces the size and activity of the amygdala, leading to better emotional control and less reactivity to stress. So these structural adaptations contribute to better emotional stability, improved cognitive function, and greater resilience to stress over time. But how does that happen? So when we are practicing meditation or mindfulness, your brain is changing physically, and we can explain this on the cellular level. So let's start with gray matter. Gray matter is your brain's processing centers. It contains the main bodies of your brain cells, the neurons. When you learn something new, several things happen. The neurons get bigger. Just like muscle grows when it's exercised, neurons that are frequently used actually increase in size. There's also more supporting cells that develop. So the neurons have helper cells called glia that provide nutrients and support. These increase in number when a brain region is active. There's also more blood vessels that form. Those active brain regions need more oxygen and nutrients, so tiny new blood vessels develop to supply them. These changes together make that region of gray matter physically larger and thicker. There's also the white matter in your brain. That's your brain's connection cables. White matter consists of those long extensions of neurons called axons, which are covered in a fatty white insulation called myelin. So as we meditate and practice mindfulness, those connections strengthen. The existing pathways between the neurons get reinforced, kind of like turning a footpath into a highway. The myelin increases, that white insulation thickens, which makes those signals travel faster and more efficiently. And then new connections form. Your brain creates entirely new pathways between neurons that weren't connected before. Meditation not only alters brain structure and chemical changes, but it also enhances brain function, leading to better cognitive performance, emotional regulation, and resilience to stress. So some of those functional changes that occur include increased cortical thickness. The prefrontal cortex is the center of attention, decision-making, and emotional regulation. Meditation thickens the cortex, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, which is linked to slower cognitive decline with aging. So this will benefit your cognitive health. There's also increased excitability and neural activity, which is seen with enhanced brainwave activity in EEG studies. So mindfulness meditation increases the alpha and theta waves, which are associated with relaxation, creativity, and deep focus. Advanced meditators also showed increased gamma wave activity, which is linked to heightened awareness, memory, and cognitive integration. Also, people that meditate and practice mindfulness meditation have been seen to have improved functional connectivity between the brain regions. So meditation strengthens the connections between the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, and the hippocampus, leading to better emotional regulation and reduced stress responses. As mentioned, the default mode network, also known as the DMN, which is responsible for self-referential thinking and mind wandering, become less overactive. That reduces rumination and anxiety. So your active DMN is responsible for you constantly coming back to that stressful activity. If that is less overactive, you may not find yourself coming back to that stressful activity. Meditation and mindfulness helps that to become less overactive. Also, there's reduced reactivity to stress, which is seen in the amygdala, which is the fear and stress response. That actually shows decreased activity. So meditation will reduce the excitability in the amygdala, which will make you less reactive to stress and improve your emotional resilience. So these functional adaptations will all lead to better focus, emotional balance, and cognitive longevity, making meditation a valuable practice for brain health. We're going to have a discussion in our session on Wednesday night, and it's based on this conclusion that we just came across in our previous slides. Mindfulness meditation creates chemical, structural, and functional changes in the brain. So we're going to ask you whether you think it's surprising that meditation can change the brain physically. Also, knowing that meditation can increase memory-related areas of the brain, how do you think that could be helpful as we age? Third, how do you think that mindfulness can help with focus and attention in daily tasks? And last, we'll ask you, what are some ways to incorporate mindfulness into your daily life? Speaking of that, we have a video which shows uh, a monk who is very well known in mindfulness meditation, Thich Nhat Hanh. demonstrating several mindful movements. We won't view all of them, but we'll view maybe 2 or 3 minutes of them. And that will give you an example of mindful movement, which some people enjoy when they're trying to be mindful. All right, we're going to look at a few studies that were done which suggest positive changes with meditation and mindfulness. We'll begin with studies out of the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, and a small study founded by them found that mindfulness meditation does help to control pain without using opiates, which occur naturally in the brain. That suggests that mindfulness meditation, coupled with certain pain medications, may be particularly effective when reducing pain. Also, a literature review and scientific statement from the American Heart Association suggests evidence supporting the use of transcendental meditation to lower blood pressure. However, there were few head-to-head studies that support that. Some studies have suggested improvement in anxiety and depression, but not necessarily evidence that meditation changed health-related behaviors affected by stress, such as substance abuse or sleep disorders. And then in a small study, 54 adults with chronic insomnia found that 2 techniques of meditation, mindfulness-based stress reduction and mindfulness-based therapy for insomnia, improved sleep. The one that was directed towards insomnia showed a greater reduction in insomnia severity. So again, many of these studies were only shown in a small scale. They weren't necessarily replicated in larger studies, but they do provide a little bit of potential for what meditation might do in your brain. How about with depression? So one researcher used functional MRI to take before and after pictures of the brains of depressed patients after they learned to meditate. Her results demonstrated that changes in brain activity in subjects who learned to meditate held steady even when they weren't meditating. So she theorizes that meditation training boosts body awareness in the moment, introspection, and that patients can focus attention on the present. And again, going back to the default mode network, this can block that pattern of self-rumination that accompanies depression. So maybe a little bit hopeful use of meditation and mindfulness with depression. How about increases in gray matter, which we talked about earlier? So in one study, MRI scans were taken of 2 groups of participants, those who were learning about and actively pursuing mindfulness training, and a controlled group that did not participate in the training. Researchers found increased concentration of gray matter in the brain. These are brain cell bodies, including the hippocampus and other regions related to learning and emotion. They suggested that these changes may have an impact on neurotransmitters, particularly serotonin and norepinephrine, that influence mood. An earlier study had found that mindfulness training reduced concentration of gray matter in the amygdala as well, and that's the area associated with fear and anxiety. In another study, researchers used people who had never meditated and took them through that mindfulness-based stress reduction training program. After 8 weeks, they found that the brain volume increased in 4 regions, including the hippocampus and the temporal and the parietal junction, which are responsible for empathy and compassion. The study also found decreased brain volume in the amygdala, the area associated with the fight or flight, and that was correlated with changes in levels of stress. So the smaller the amygdala, the less stressed people felt, even if their circumstances remained the same. In one interesting study, they tried to figure out whether mindfulness can actually make you happier. So in one study, they examined results, and they found that individuals with the higher activity in the regions associated with a positive emotions had a higher level of psychological well-being. And they did find that mindfulness gave participants a sustained positive emotion, and that is how it was seen. They also found that people that were practicing mindfulness had more recovery from negative emotions. So this training may lead to greater resilience to painful stimuli. So the experienced meditators in the study reported the same pain intensity as non-mindful participants, but with less unpleasantness. So meditation may not take the pain away, but they just might change your perception of the pain. Also, meditation found stronger pro-social behavior and generosity. So behavior that increases social bonds and improves the quality of social relationships increases well-being. The research suggests that compassion can be cultivated with mental training. Finally, decreased mind wandering. So a study where a smartphone app was used to monitor thoughts and feelings showed that their minds were wandering about half of the time, and while doing so, they reported significantly more unhappiness. So being mindful instead of letting your mind wander can actually make you happier. Let's look at how we can begin a mindfulness meditation practice on our own. So first we want to get started. Start with those short sessions, 5 to 10 minutes a day. Find a comfortable position. Focus on your breath. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to focus on your breath. You might try using apps or websites. So as you know, we have a subscription to Headspace. So you can open that app on your phone and use that, or you can use YouTube to find some guided meditations. Include mindful breathing, such as the box breathing technique we discussed last week. And then practice mindful walking, mindful eating, or mindfulness in daily activities. The next step is to create a routine. So it's fine to do it once, but let's try to do it on a regular basis. So in order to be successful, pick a specific time each day. Start small, just 1 to 2 minutes to begin with. Set up some reminders, whether it be on your phone or with sticky notes, to do your mindfulness routine. You can always join a group. That might make you more apt to continue. And remember, all along, try to be patient and non-judgmental. This is a difficult thing, to be mindful, and your mind will wander. So be kind to yourself and just gently come back to your thought and your breath afterwards. You are going to have challenges. One of them is time. I don't have time to add another routine to my day. Well, start with just 1 or 2 minutes, as we said. Your wandering mind, my mind keeps wandering. What do I do? Just observe it and return back to the present. The more you do that, the easier it will become. You might forget to do it. Well, tie it to an existing habit. What do you do every day? Your morning routine, say, for example. Add a very short mindfulness session to that so you can remember. And then boredom. Maybe you don't want to sit every day and practice mindfulness. Consider that there are other methods that can be used. For example, listening to music, or taking nature walks, or doing body scans. Research different ways to experience mindfulness and incorporate it into your everyday life. Our course website includes some different resources that you can use. There's a program called Palouse Mindfulness. This is free. This is online. And this is the mindfulness-based stress reduction program, which began at University of Massachusetts. This is that program, and you can partake in that program for free online. There's also YouTube channels. Look for people like Tara Brach or The Honest Guys. There's others. Just find someone that you like. Of course, we talked about the free apps, Headspace. There's one called Smiling Mind. There's one called Balance. There are some local resources. UCSD Health Center for Mindfulness has some in-person and online classes. You can also join a meetup group for mindfulness. And then there's more. Let us know which ones you have. And then, as we said, find links and more on the course website at bfclass.com. If we have time, we will complete our class with a 1-minute mindfulness session with Tamara Levitt. And as in conclusion, don't forget about this tool. Mindfulness and meditation can be used to help you become more calm, can produce positive changes in your brain, and can help you with your emotional stability. So try this for an extended period of time and see how it works for you. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope to see you in class.